So we saw a very interesting Jordan restock hit DSG today. You guys know the company which has been making a lot of headlines as of lately for the big Foot Locker acquisition, but of course that's not what today's video is about. And for all the resellers right now drooling at the mouth, thinking about all the profit margins they're gonna be able to make off these White Thunder 4s picture right here, them joints are already sold out. Same with the Legend Blue 11s, same with the Space Jam 11 lows. And as far as the leftover scraps for the big restock, you guys still have the Jordan 4 Fears, which this sneaker last dropped 2024. As far as what's available though, pretty decent size run. You got men's sizes 8 through size 13 available right now as I'm recording, so not too bad. And if you're kind of wondering like, how does a sneaker which originally dropped back in 2024 just like kind of randomly restock out of nowhere? Well, I'm glad you asked, because these sneakers simply come from a place which I like to refer to as Jordan brand purgatory, right? This is for all of the Jordan brand releases which don't sell out, all of the sneakers which quote unquote sit on shelves, right? This is the pairs which are just waiting to be sold or eventually go on sale. But one place or another, they are looking to eventually sell out, you know, find themselves a home, right? Now, on top of these Jordan 4 Fears, which are available right now, and don't sleep on these right here, because as far as like market value, you might think like, oh, these joints are under retail. Well, these actually pretty much are at retail all across the board. And rather than buying these off of a secondary resale app, why not get them from an official retailer such as DSG? Now, I was also kind of, you know, interested to see that there was also some other Jordan releases which I like to refer to as in purgatory. Some of those pairs would be like these Jordan 6 yellow ochres, which we did see drop top of last year. This is kind of a play off the Jordan Carmine, right? Which they obviously replaced the red with the yellow. Not a bad pair. I think we have seen these joints go on sale eventually, but they are still sitting right here and just about a full size run on top of those. Another pair of 6s. This one I was a little more surprised to see, these Olympic 6s, which we did originally see this sneaker first drop back in 2012. So at the time they were paying homage to the Olympic Games, which at that time, don't quote me on this, but I think it was like Paris, something like that maybe. Yeah, Paris, London, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. So these, surprisingly, which restocked last year or re-released last year, are available in sizes 8 through 11. So not too many pairs to go around, but I was just kind of surprised to see these, because back in the day when they originally dropped, they were valid. And I thought there would be a little more love for this shoe as we saw in restock last year. Now, as far as other Jordan pairs, which are currently in a place which I like to refer to as Jordan brand purgatory, we got pairs sitting across sites like DSG, Foot Locker, Nike, you name it. All of these shoes did actually drop this year. So we're gonna run through these pairs and talk about if they're eventually gonna go on sale or maybe at one time sell out. Starting off with these Jordan 12 Mellows. Now, when we first heard these were gonna retro, I was kind of surprised, right? These originally dropped back in a time where like Carmelo Anthony, he was one of the hottest players in the NBA. And for these to return, like I'm still kind of puzzled as to why. Of course, you know, he did get the Hall of Fame this year, so maybe that was the reason. Maybe Jordan brand foresaw that. But when you talk about this shoe, wow, these ain't bad. I'm not a fan of the color blocking as far as like the placement of the UNC blue on here. Maybe that's the reason why these weren't a hot seller. But when you talk about this shoe right here, retailing for over 200 bucks, my guess is eventually these joints, if they haven't already gone on sale, you know, will be going on sale coming up very soon. Moving forward here, we got the Jordan 4 Rare Air, which when you talk about the Rare Air series overall, all of these joints underrated, from the 1s to the 3s, the 4s, and we got the 11s coming soon. Now, when you talk about this shoe right here, the Jordan 4, one of Jordan brand's most popular retro models, you did have the little gimmick with the white lettering versus the gold lettering, which pairs are sitting all across the board. They made so many pairs of these joints. Like, this is one of those Jordans which surpassed the $100,000 stock number volume. And even with all those factors and everything like that, I feel like this is a shoe which eventually, you know, is gonna sell out. I think this is gonna be a popular one for Jordan brand down the line. And then moving forward, we have the Jordan 12 French Blue, which a lot of people consider this one an OG release, which didn't drop from the original run back in '97 for the original Jordan 12 run, but we actually saw this one drop originally back in 2004. So this was after MJ's little stint with the Wizards. This is a pair which Kobe Bryant used to rock, so there is some nostalgia attached to this shoe. Surprisingly though, we actually do see these pairs sitting right now. So as far as this one, do y'all feel like these joints are gonna sell out? My guess with this pair, because they did drop so many pairs, again, this is one of these Jordan retros, which they dropped over 100,000 pairs, which hit the sneakers app alone. My guess is that eventually these pairs are gonna go on sale. Moving forward here, we got the Jordan 5 Grape, which is a true Jordan brand OG. And anytime you see a sneaker like this sitting, it always kind of puzzles me. Like, I thought there was a bigger demand for a sneaker like this, but when we talk about Jordan 5s, I guess people hold the black metallic 5s, maybe even the fire red 5s a little bit higher than these grapes, which currently are sitting right now. As far as if these will go on sale, if they haven't already, my guess is that eventually these are going to sell out, and probably by the time you come across these next year, you won't find these on any type of these retail sites. Moving forward here, we have the Jordan 3 Pure Money, which unlike the Black Cat 3s, which did sit for a little bit and then eventually sold out, which they dropped at the top of the year, this pair dropped right in time for the summer. They did drop a lot of these joints, over 100,000 pairs, which you guys see a full size run available. And anytime you get a Jordan release which exceeds that type of stock, my guess is that a shoe like this eventually, if it hasn't already, you guys will eventually be able to catch these joints on sale. Which brings us here to the Shattered Backboard Jordan 1. Now this one is kind of a wobbler, right? It's not an OG, but it is a Jordan release that has a lot of history to it. The storytelling on this pair is cool, and it's a re-release of a Jordan from back in 2015, one which, you know, has gained like cult-like classic status over time. But a lot of people complain that when you talk about the 2025 version, was dropped 10 years after that original one, they said it didn't stack up as far as the quality and the leather and everything like that. But regardless, you know, throw all of that negative energy to the side. Even with the Jordan 1 not being as popular as it once was, I think that's the main factor, that these weren't an instant sellout. But in regards to this shoe, I feel like rather than these popping up on sale, this is a shoe which eventually, by the end of the year, you're probably going to see sell out. So let's see what we got next here. We have the Jordan 4 Cavestone, a shoe which just dropped, I want to say last weekend, right? Now this one's interesting, right? Because you got the Nike Air on the back, colorway, very appropriate for the fall season, which is upon us. This is a shoe which, ever since the mock-ups popped up at the top of the year, this is one that people have been anticipating. Once we actually saw what they looked like, they didn't disappoint. Of course, they weren't an instant sellout. Right now, there's just so much heat releasing. As far as stock numbers, they dropped a whole lot of these pairs right here, which even with the high stock, I think this is a big seller for Jordan Brand. Any pair of 4s, rare Air 4s, same with these Cavestone 4s, which is why I feel like this one right here is kind of a sleeper. I mean, not really. I think they're selling these a lot. They just had a lot of inventory, right? So I think this is one of those pairs which, again, end of the year, probably are going to sell out, and more so than likely, you won't catch these on sale. Now, as far as the pairs which do go on sale, you're probably wondering, like, where do these sneakers go? Like, where's Jordan Brand hell for the shoes which were in purgatory, waiting to either be sold or go on sale? Well, Jordan hell, that would be a place called Shoe Palace, where right now you can find these rare Air Jordan 1s, which dropped top of the year at 180 bucks, now currently on sale, 50% off, y'all. Coming in at just under 100 bucks. On top of those, you got the rare Air 3s, which 210 bucks, now on sale for 150 bucks. So as far as Jordan releases this year, a lot of heat, so much that not every pair is going to sell out. Like, we can come up with whatever excuse you want to have for why pairs don't sell out, whether it's the demand, whether they release too many pairs. But the fact of the matter is, some pairs don't sell out and eventually are waiting to either go on sale or, you know, eventually them joints will sell out. So let me know what y'all think about a lot of these pairs. Do you guys feel like my predictions are on point? Or do you feel like a lot of these pairs will just sit in purgatory, eventually waiting to get a restock like we saw today via DSG? Let me know if any of y'all picked up these Jordan 4 Fears, JATV. Until next time, stay safe, stay blessed. I'm out. Love.